I didn't know what to talk about this week. I mean, I barely made my third week, and here I am, and just getting off the Jackass Podcast, which is a podcast on Twitch that I found when I started working for Twitch, and it's like they just had their 200th episode, and I wouldn't have missed it for the world, and it's over. It's a show that allowed me to meet so many awesome people, and it's sad that it's going, but it really kind of made me think about like where I was when the show started versus where I am now, like doing this. And I think it was apt, at least. May not get a casual Brian this week, but I thought it was apt that that I talk about or address my feelings kind of more raw. As I've said in the past, I haven't streamed in like a full week in about almost 6 months. Our house is going to be renovated in a couple of weeks now. It's getting really close. It's getting really close. And, it's given me a lot of time to think. We were going through memories and stuff, and they had brought up getting somewhere in streaming and the usual stuff. And I found myself looking at that differently than I usually would in the past. And I think it's because I've been away from doing the daily thing for so long. And people have sort of been finding that out in their own ways. It's something I've wanted to talk about, probably not at length, because I feel like that's best reserved for a more prepared video. But I think there's a lot to be said for kind of pulling yourself out, getting a break, getting a different perspective and kind of approaching all of this differently, approaching it for like the long game, I guess, is what I'd like to do with all of this. Create to create again, like what I did when I was a web designer. I would create to create, and then I created something out of that. Whereas like I kind of jumped into this professionally, full-time. I never really kind of loved what I was doing or was happy with where I was because of different things. I have out with it's on it, comparing myself to other people, all the different kind of self-worth problems I've had in the past and still kind of do have with all the changes that have happened since the beginning of the year with getting the house and the confidence boost that gave, being able to, have power and control and ownership and creativity. We just put in a smart light system today and like doing all these little things, being able to tinker with like the largest toy I've ever had has been absolutely amazing. But then I look back at like my job, which is kind of how I'm looking at streaming. Like this is content creation. It's my job. That's how I look at it now. And it's like, well, maybe I need a different point of view on this. And it's not a point of view that, I all of a sudden had an epiphany about. It was just like those little tweaks of hearing something that you've always heard and reacting a little bit differently to it. Like I needed to be happy with my product. I needed to be happy with what I was presenting. This is not what I'm happy with. And, it's taken me a long time to actually get to a point where I'm ready to be happy with what I put out there because, it's like looking in the mirror and be like, do I look good enough to go out? And for me, as somebody who's very visual, looking at my setup is like looking at myself in the mirror and being like, is this the Brian that I want to put out? And it doesn't even really matter. The question is not, if I put out this Brian, will I get this many viewers? No, it's not. I mean, it was, I can't say it was never that. But there was definitely a point where I switched that to like, I want this to be the best I can put out because that's where I feel my strength is. Some people don't need to do any of this. Some people can just get up in the morning, have a C920 or C900, webcam on their, on the top of their monitor, play games, be entertaining, and be amazing at it. And like, props to them. And then there are other people who need to become somebody else in order to do that. And then there's me who cares so much about my look, what I put out there. It's like my web design. It's like my AvalonStar.com redesign, but with me on it, and all the camera quality, the overlays, and the branding we've been doing, the pins we've gotten made, it's like all of this stuff. It's all a part of what makes me content, to a point where I'm content and I'm happy and I'm proud with what I'm putting out there. And then it's a matter of finding people who are compatible with what I'm putting out there. And it's, for different people, it's different things. I don't think, in the nicest of ways, I don't think I'm a very mainstream sort of person. I don't think I'll ever be. It's so hard to talk about this career in a top 10 list because it's not. It's custom made for everybody. And granted, there are people, if you make your advice general enough, then of course it's going to apply vaguely to a lot of people. I don't know where this is going, honestly. This is not really well put together, but maybe I'll use this sometime later. I feel a lot of trepidation going forward. I'm really scared about coming back to doing content creation. Like right now I'm talking to a camera, which is something I always kind of dreaded, talking to a camera and then putting it out there and having to talk, the whole concept of YouTube was always something that I never really got, because it's like, oh yeah, I'm talking to a camera and then interacting with people. But I love the live interaction, but I've seen the value of this now. If anything, right now I'm using it as a way to hide, because like I can just put it out there and not have to look at it, rather than have to interact with people live and be unhappy with what I'm putting out there in real time. So I am scared. And even though it's like going to be about 2 weeks until I get back in, it's gonna be a reset. It's gonna be the biggest reset I've had. I've kind of been thinking of starting over in a way, reintroducing myself, because I am still really attached to the staff member that I was when I met everybody on the Jackass Podcast, when I met people in the Twitch community. It's been hard. It's really hard to like move away from that. It's one of those things I'm going to have to take day by day, and I'm going to try and keep introducing new things to prevent me from kind of being complacent. Being able to do stuff like this that I've always wanted to do, things that I've always wanted to do, things that make me happy, that spark joy with me, so that I can start sparking joy in other people again, like I used to. I'll be frank, I'm terrified. Tonight was a good reminder of like the friendships that I'm missing, and the people that I have been losing touch with, and how I need to get better as a person when it comes to that. But at the same time, it's like, I keep saying to myself, house first. And I think that's been a good thing, because again, I've been able to get a different sort of mindset when it comes to like looking at streaming. Hopefully coming into this, not making the same mistakes that I've made over the past four plus years that I've been streaming. I don't know. I just don't know how it'll go. But I guess if I look at my life, that's when some of the best things have happened, is when I had absolutely no idea what was going to happen and just kind of let the fates take me. So let's see where they take me.